learn how to perform a GET request in React. So first of all, what you need to do, you need to install a dependency which is Axios. We will use Axios for performing and calling APIs. And once we install the Axios, we have to uh, we have to actually get a new working API URL, so that if we can hit that URL, that should return a data in response. And if and after the data is received, we will render that data into our React project. So let's begin with the session. So what you have to do is, so this is our previous app which we have just created using create react app. So this is our code base. So this is our app.js. So first thing what we have to do is we have to install Axios library. Here we have this is, so we have to install it. In this different terminal. So it will take little time. Once the installation is done, our next step would be to install a material UI library, for which using we are developing our UI. So for that we have to search for material UI, then we have to go into the get starter kit, and after that this is the command to which we have to run it into our terminal. So after installing both the dependencies, which is Axios and the material UI, we will just clean this app.js so that we could render it in a very clean app. So now you can see here we have very clean app. Now our next step would be, we will create a new folder over here with profile. In this profile we will create a new file which is profile.js. Now in this file we have predefined command rcc, which will automatically create a template for the class. In this, if we write profile page, and we have to import into this profile, and this will automatically show auto import, and now we can see profile page is here. So our next task is to design this profile page so that we could render our get request over here. So for that I am already having this particular code which I have designed. I don't want to waste more time over this. I just want to teach you how to render get request. So I'm just putting here this whole code. Now it is asking these are not imported, so we have to import these two things. First thing which is card, and second thing which is typography from material UI core. Now our next step would be adding these style sheets. For this we have to add these style sheet into our render function. In this render function we have to put these styles. Now let's check. Oh, it's wonderful. So our UI is ready. Now it's time to call a new URL to which we can get data and we can render it. So for that, into our component, first step would be creating states so that we could manage them properly into our application. So first we have to write constructor, And inside the constructor we have to define super, and after that this dot state, and into the state we will define user data, and initially it would be null, and also we will define state loading. For initial it will be true. Now our states are already defined. Next step would be using component did mount function, in which we will use an arrow function for that, and into it we will call our API using Axios. For that we have to first import Axios. After importing Axios we have to define it and just call the API. So call API will be a variable, after that Axios dot get, and after that we will pass URL in this, and URL would be, this is request response API which provide a dummy data so that we can test it. So if we click this URL it will return this data. It will return ID, email, first name, avatar, and inside a data object. So let's copy this URL and paste into it. You can also use your URL if you have backend ready, or any API that can give you data in return if we hit that API. So once, how will it work? Once Axios dot get performed successfully, then we will receive a response from that, and that response is now used using callback. What we will do, if response is received, we will change these states, we will update these states. So for that we use set state function and then update user data to, now response is received like res.data, and inside a data object. So now our states are updated, which is inside the user data. Our next thing will also be like loading should be false now, so that we can use it properly. So for now our user data has all the data which is received from this API, and loading is false now. So we can check this loading, so we can check this loading over here by like here. So it would be like, if this dot state dot loading is false, then do something, and if true, then show loading. So in this we will copy our data, this UI code, and will, if condition is false, we will paste here. So now we can see how it is looking. So means our loading is false, that's why it is showing this. We can reload it to check it. Initially okay. So our next step would be to replace these states here. So for this we are having all the data in this dot state, this dot state dot user data dot first name, and we are also having last name. So if we see here, oh, first name of null. Let me check where is the issue. Oh, I just missed this thing spelling loading. Oh yes, nice, it is working now. So we can see this is the data which we are receiving, as name is this and last name is this. So next step is updating this email field. So to access the email field, let's replace this dot state dot user data dot email. Let's see. Yes, email is working completely fine. So another step is to change this image avatar. So for that, this is the source code of the avatar. We will update this dot state dot user data dot avatar. Let's check it. Fine, it is completely fine, and our whole project is working, and this whole get request is working. So this is all about how React is actually works. So first step, what we have to do is we have to design our UI is like which is code to write card, and once UI and its styling is done, we have to define a constructor, and inside a constructor we have to define our states, and we have to call a component mount function using Axios. We have to hit a request to the URL, and once URL is hit successfully, we have to update our states, and once states are updated, we have to also we have to check this loading. If loading is false, then render this. So this is the whole process. You can also check this code. I'm just making it big so that you can just test it out if it is required. So this is the whole thing which you need to do to get the data from any API which is giving in response. So thank you for watching this session. In the next session, we will also teach you how to call a post request and how to update data and how to delete data.